Big thanks to reset_9999 for making this video especially for 4K clips and trailers. This is an HDR versus SDR comparison, so first pause and read this carefully to understand how it works. Here is a graph that shows how the luminance varies in SDR and HDR versions. You can also see the Dolby Vision metadata. Additionally, you can observe how the bit rates vary between the HD and the UHD Blu-rays. Interstellar has received many home media versions and all of them are shockingly different. In this video, you'll see the differences in picture crop, HDR and colors in the most detailed manner. I wanted to make this video myself, but when I came across reset_9999's YouTube channel, I was blown away by his level of knowledge and the automation techniques he uses to create these SDR versus HDR comparison videos. I wanted you all to know about his channel and see his work. I requested him to collaborate with my channel and make a video for it, and he kindly agreed. Of course, this is not a sponsored video in any way. This is a collaboration between two channels that are madly obsessed with HDR. On reset_9999's channel, you can find tons of similar comparison videos. These will not only help you understand how these technologies work, but also help you decide which version of a movie to prefer. Some movies might have great extra detail in HDR versions, while others might not. Some might have very bright HDR versions, while others may appear dim. In fact, sometimes the SDR version might be better than the HDR version. For Interstellar, as you can see, there are two types of scenes. One's shot with 35mm film using anamorphic lenses in the scope ratio, and the others shot with IMAX film cameras in a 1.43:1 ratio, later cropped to 16:9 for home media. The 35mm scenes look the same in all the versions, but the differences lie in the IMAX scenes. The 1080p Blu-ray has the most picture in the IMAX scenes. The 4K Blu-ray is heavily zoomed in and crops the IMAX scenes on all four sides. The 4K web stream, however, recovers the lost picture from the sides but crops from the top and bottom to give a scope aspect ratio. Essentially, in 4K Blu-ray IMAX scenes, you'll get more height but less width. In the 4K web stream, you'll get more width but less height. Only in the 1080p Blu-ray will you get the maximum width and height. So, if you have a 1080p display, don't bother getting the 4K version. Talking about the HDR, this movie was shot entirely on film, and even the VFX shots were printed on film and then scanned back. So there isn't much dynamic range info from the source itself. That's why, if you compare the SDR and HDR versions, you'll only notice differences in brightness. You won't see any new highlight details being recovered. Basically, it's the same as SDR but with variable brightness. The real difference lies in WCG or wide color gamut. You'll notice that many scenes have more color information in the HDR version than the SDR version. This is because IMAX film can capture rich colors even though it lacks dynamic range. Lastly, talking about the detail, the difference in 35mm shots is subtle, but the difference in IMAX scenes is night and day. The 4K versions are incredibly sharp. As you know, IMAX film is capable of capturing at a resolution equivalent to 18K. To summarize, if you have a 1080p flat screen, go for the HD Blu-ray. You'll get more picture. If you have a scope screen, go for the 4K web version because it will have great colors, full width and custom cropping adjusted to look correct on scope. Lastly, if you have a big 4K flat screen, definitely go for the 4K Blu-ray. Even though it's significantly cropped, the boost in detail and colors makes up for it. Now, I have an interesting theory about why the IMAX scenes are cropped on the 4K Blu-ray. Don't quote me on this, but I think the source for the 4K Blu-ray was the IMAX 1.90:1 master used on most IMAX screens worldwide. The 1.90 version is slightly narrower than 16:9. So, for the 4K scope version, they utilized the full width of this master. For the 4K Blu-ray, since they had to deliver 16:9 but the source was 1.90:1, they just cleverly zoomed in a bit to prevent letterboxing, assuming nobody would notice or care about the lost image. And they were right. But now that we know what they did, in my opinion, the zooming in decision was wrong. Even if they started from a 1.90:1 source, it would have been okay to include small black bars instead of zooming in. Many movies like Top Gun Maverick, Mission Impossible Fallout, and Wonder Woman 1984 have included 1.90 and 2.39 switching ratios, and they look great. Even if they did this to maintain similarity with the 16:9 Blu-ray, I still disagree with their decision to crop like that. Anyway, that's the video. All thanks to reset_9999 for making this video. Please go and subscribe to his channel. He deserves way more subscribers than he currently has. He not only makes videos but also develops software tools that allow you to make similar comparisons. Using his tools, you can plot these kind of graphs, convert videos and audio, and perform many advanced tasks that even paid software cannot do. Once again, let me repeat, this is not a sponsored video. I made this because I genuinely respect his work, and you should too. That's all. Now go ahead, enjoy the rest of the comparison video, and subscribe to reset_9999 immediately after that. Thank you.